Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, I want to talk about the moment avoidants realize it wasn't your fault. So, we're going to talk about the specific moments that I notice this happens in cases that I have working with so many avoidants and working with you guys. However, I do want to first clarify that this doesn't mean that you have to make this happen. Normally, this stuff happens naturally. Relationships are tricky. I don't want anyone to be in a situation where you feel like you have to be in this case, but avoidants are pretty difficult. And so I would like to share this with you in case you feel like this is happening and you don't know what's happening. Is it good or is it bad? This is to open that window for you guys to understand the dynamic. I'm not necessarily saying to make this happen. If you want to, you can. But I'm more talking about the cases that this does happen because I'm working with a lot of you guys where this is literally happening. Like this is what we're talking about on the session. And so I'd like to share that with you. If you need any specific help, and you can book a call with me or email me, it's pinned in the comments. As I've mentioned to you guys, there's a little box in there where I'm the only person that sees it. And you can write the details, whatever you like. A lot of you guys do that so that I have background so that we can spend as much time on your case during the session as possible. I still like to hear the background of your cases a little bit in session. I think that's good and valuable, but definitely I will understand the background well if you write it there first so that we can spend most of the time trying to evaluate your case. So please take the opportunity to do that if you'd like. I'm the only person that sees it, so don't worry. My admin staff doesn't look at stuff like that. I have a very tiny admin team and they do purely administrative stuff, nothing client or patient facing at all. Okay, so please understand that. I know some people had that concern and I did want to share that with you. It's only me. Okay, it's sent directly to me. Admin doesn't see that. Okay, so let's talk about the moments now that I've cleared that up. The moment they blamed you for something and you took it calmly, only for them to realize that they were too harsh with you. I don't like this one. I feel really sad when I see this happen in sessions, and I know that they feel sad too because it's just not fair. And people do this. I don't think it's not intentional, right? People have moments they're in a bad mood, they're stressed. A lot of the cases I work with, avoidants have anger. And so this happens. They blame you for something and they realize it wasn't really you, it was something else, or whatever it may be, or maybe it was them, right? And you took it calmly. And then they realize, wait, you took it calmly. I was being kind of, not such a nice person. And they feel really bad about it. This moment is really interesting because they really reflect on not just how you act, but how they treat you. And this is a good thing. It's tricky. We need to do this with a balance, but because avoidants are also very sensitive to guilt, but they react how they treat you because they start thinking, oh, I don't treat you that good. What are other areas I don't treat you that well? And they start reflecting on other things. It might be overwhelming. So I think this one's got to be taken with a grain of salt because they might ask you questions. Some of them might say, was that too much for you or am I too mean to you? Fearful avoidants might say that. They might say, am I too mean? Am I too harsh? Answer them, but answer gently. Don't say, yeah, you're the most difficult person in my life, even though maybe that's true, right? Don't tell them that. Say it nicely. You can mention, I think sometimes you can be difficult, right? Because we have to understand, and I'm saying this, I used to be avoidant. You guys know that. I know avoidants are difficult, and they know they're difficult. So if you say, yeah, you're the most difficult person ever, they're going to shut down because they know, and it's just a lot of failure complex. They know, and it's hard to fix it. It was very hard for me to fix it. And so I just want you guys to know that. But I know it's difficult. So you can just say, yeah, you're a difficult person. I mean, you can be difficult. You can be difficult, right? So sometimes they won't say it. Dismissive avoidants very rarely will say, oh, am I too difficult? But they might say, sorry, I shouldn't have said that. They might say, that's a lot to take in. I shouldn't have done that. I'll work on it. A lot of dismissive avoidants will just say, I'll work on it. And they don't want to talk about it any further. And they might even say, okay, that's too much for me. My cup's getting full or I'm getting overwhelmed. Or they might even say something like, that's a lot for me to take in. Just wait, right? And so at that point, they took it in, but don't put it too much because that'll just backfire. So let them calculate what it is they need to fix after they blamed you and they realize they shouldn't have done that. Let them do it. They are doing the heavy lifting. Don't do the work for them. A lot of you guys want to do the work for them. And I get that. I make videos for you guys to help, but I never want you to do more than you need to. And I'm telling you right now, when they realize it was their fault, let them do the lifting. You've done enough. Let them do it. Just trust it. Okay. The next one is they took out their annoyance and frustration out on you only to realize it was something else. So this is a little different because it's not based on your reaction, because it's more about, let's say they were frustrated about work and then the work scenario is fine and now they're in a good mood and they realize, oh, I was only mad because of my work situation, but I was taking it out on you. That's on me. And they might not tell you, but what you will notice is a lot of times they will be a lot nicer. So it's really interesting. Male avoidants, what they do, female avoidants don't do this. They do something else, and I'll tell you that in a bit. Male avoidants start becoming extra romantic during this time. So they might start opening the door for you, or they might start over complimenting you. Female avoidants, they start talking much like sweeter to you, being more acknowledging towards you. They are much more like gentle around you. Some of them might even be a little more physical. And so just know that they are inputting that what they did was not healthy and they really do feel bad. Again, don't poke at it too much. Let them process it, because if you bother their process, it's gonna, they're gonna get more triggered and it won't process properly. So keep that in mind. Let them process their guilt. It might take a bit. Do not do the heavy lifting. Okay. You guys you don't need to do anything, right? Because it wasn't your fault. Sometimes things are not your fault. So just let it be. Okay. The next one is very specific, and I see it happen in my sessions, okay? The moment you ask them a specific question and they replied honestly, again, this is so specific, and they don't like the answer. Okay. I'm going to give an example that's common. I'm not talking about a specific case. It's pretty typical. Are we ever going to get married? Okay. And they say, probably not. I don't like marriage. Okay. They were honest. They don't want to get married. But obviously you asked that question. Why? Why did you ask it? Because you want to get married. That's my guess. And that's the point of this example. And so they don't like that they disappointed you. And especially if you took it well, you took it kind. What they actually do inwardly is they gain an incentive to change this. It's not as romantic as it sounds, because you guys might be thinking, oh, it's because they love me and they don't want you disappointed. Sure, all of it is that true. But a lot of times it's because they really didn't like how much of a failure it made them feel. I'm just telling you the truth. Yeah, it's because they love you and they're motivated to change. But often avoidance, the trigger of failure, is so uncomfortable that they're starting to think, in that moment, marriage is not the trigger as much as failure is. And so they're avoiding that trigger by leaning into the other version. So they'd actually rather, in this very second, they'd rather be married than be the failure who doesn't get married. I know it's kind of complicated. And so in that moment, let them process that. Let them, the other trigger, move them to another direction. Let them, because it's going to benefit both of you guys at the end of the day. Because as a person who used to be avoidant, I know that sometimes this is how it worked for me. Sometimes in order for me to heal, the other trigger had to push me to heal. That's just the way it is. It works that way. Sometimes you have to realize, if you don't want to be such a failure, or you don't want to be a person who can't handle things, you have to fix this, right? That's the way it is. And this is what's working in their mind. So let them do it that way. Don't even poke at it. Let them process it. They might even say, later they might even say, I'm open to it. Or what I've actually seen more common is you might say, this is down the line. So after this conversation, let's say a couple months later, you might say, well, you don't even want to get married. What their response is, which proves that this is processing, is they might say, I didn't say that. I'm just saying I'm not ready now. They're defending it because they're almost saying, I'm working on it. I'll get there one day. And they will. They will. One day might be a long time, but I promise you, if an avoidant is saying that, it's a very high chance they will get there one day, okay? And the last one. With male avoidance, it's more common if you cry that they feel this one. And then for female avoidance, if you get mad. So I hope that made sense. If they feel you react about something that they feel they failed at. And so it's not a romantic thing. It's not a thing that they did with you. Let's say, for example, I don't know, you guys are trying to find parking in the city. And every time they try and find a parking, it's not the right place. And you said, just let's go to the parking deck. And they're saying, no, I'm going to find a parallel park on the side of the road. It's cheaper. Okay. So they keep going to this spot and they're like, I know this spot. And they keep finding it and it's full. And they're trying to save money. And so they're driving all around the city. And then maybe you might miss the reservation. And then you do. And then you react. You're not mad at them. You have a reaction. And then they reflect, oh, it's because I was being stubborn because I was trying to save a couple dollars. Or maybe it's a lot, right? Some cities are expensive. But they still think I was trying to save a couple dollars and I was stubborn, and now maybe we missed our reservation, and I could have just went in the parking deck, but I was too prideful. And so they feel truly horrible about this. And it's easier for them to feel horrible about this one because it's not their negligence as a boyfriend or girlfriend. It's just their stubbornness. But it does heal their conflict resolution and their compromise skills. And then you can bring that into the relationship. And so let's wrap it up. And so the one I just mentioned is a reaction. If you have a reaction to them doing something they did, typically outside of the relationship, like adjacent, that is usually when they feel like maybe it wasn't your fault and they can reflect. The moment where you ask a specific question and they don't like the answer, but they gave you the truthful answer. They hear it out loud and they realize, wait a second, maybe I can adjust that. Maybe I'm being too harsh. The moment they realize their annoyance and frustration they put out at you wasn't you, and it was something else. Usually when that something else was lifted, so stressor, and they realize they probably need to be more gentle with you. And the first one we mentioned is the moment they blamed you for something, anything, and you took it calmly. And then they realize they're being too harsh with you. I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.